Hi, welcome back to another episode of Faith Uncensored. Now, today we have three guests with us and we are going to talk about an interesting topic. But before we go straight into the topic, let us get to know our guests a bit better. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Shane. So I'm currently an assistant architect in an architect firm in KL.
All right, welcome.
Hello everyone, I'm Sue and I'm part of a marketing and fundraising team in an NGO in KL.
Wow.
Hi, I'm Stephanie and I'm a social media manager in a digital marketing agency.
I really appreciate all three of you for joining us, and we would really love to hear your opinion concerning the topic for today. Okay, we are going to talk about cancel culture. I believe that you have heard of this. Is a hot topic that's been coming out, I think, especially since 2019 and last year. Now, for you, what is cancel culture? Would any one of you would like to start with this? Sheen, perhaps?
From my understanding, cancel culture is basically when someone do something wrong and then a whole group of people on the internet call out that person, and even brands, big companies start to cut off working with that person to make their stand that, okay, what this person has done was wrong and we don't stand with him or her.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
What do the two of you think about this?
I think to be a little bit more specific, it's more like when it's not politically correct. And when we are talking about like politically, it's less of like what really like politics, but it's really like the online community in their eyes where they feel that it goes against their principles, their culture rules, and then that's when they start to like cancel people off.
Yeah. What about you, Stephanie?
Yeah, I think I agree with both of them that it's pretty much something that if someone else is doing something that I don't agree with and I have a group that supports me, then my group will cancel the other group off.
Your fan, you got a fan base. Yeah, I think that cancel culture generally is like a mass canceling, right? A mass canceling from the public. It's like a social ostracizing of a person. We cancel the person off. That means it's a very extreme, especially if he is a celebrity or a politician or somewhat of a public figure. Cancel culture is when we have a public boycott against the person and all the person stands for. I mean, if it's a movie, a talk show or something, we totally cancel all their works. I think so when we speak of cancel culture, I think we can agree that we come from this point of view. All right. Now, do you have any example of cancel culture that's like in recent years, in recent time? Can you recall of anything? One of it I can recall is that one of a famous TikToker, I won't mention the name just in case, okay, a famous TikToker, she was doing a dance and then on her, I think on her arm, there's a tattoo, okay, that looks like, that symbolizes a country, okay, and a very national movement. And there's another country, that country actually cancel her off and what she stands for, including her country, is like one country against another country just because of a tattoo on her arm. And she did not in any way mean it that way. It was just a general tattoo, general dance. So it's one country totally canceling another country off just because of one person. So that is what I can think of. Can you think of any example?
Yeah, I think there was this one influencer. She wasn't really like exactly well liked by everyone, but I think people started when she was really popular about her controversies, and people started digging out her tweets from like 10 years ago and to say that, oh, whatever you said then, it apparently still stands now, and therefore we're going to cancel you because you should be tweeting what you feel, what you believe, so therefore there's no room for talk, you're just it's time for you to get out from like this place. So that was quite a big thing.
All right. Any example from you, Stephanie or Sheen?
I think recently also, like maybe last year, I think there were like 2 local influencers / models as well who got cancelled because of their past behavior, and people just dug up what they posted and said that, oh, this
because you have done this, I don't think there's like any
Yeah.
way that you can redeem yourself, or there might not be
Yep.
room for change for you. So therefore they cancelled these two girls.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. All right. Now, hearing you guys, it seems that cancel culture can be very toxic, it can be unhealthy, and it's somewhat like a form of a public bullying. There's a similar trait to it, right? It's something like a cyber bullying or a public bullying. Now, in this cancel culture, is there any pro and cons to this? What do you think? I mean, what is the pro and cons, if any, to this culture? Sui, would you like to start with this?
If there can be any pros to it, I would say that it's a good time for people to know that you really cannot just write what you say, write what you think, and like just be like blatant and like ignorant about people's feelings. So that is probably the only pro, where you have to start being more aware of like what you write, what you post, what you talk about on social media. So that is definitely a good thing. But generally, I think there are more cons to it, because there are many ways to go about that if you want people to be more aware about what they're doing. So cons would be like, it's literally you're saying that you don't deserve a second chance. And that is like the biggest message that you're sending out. You are what you write, therefore you don't deserve a second chance. And that itself is, you're basically killing off people. A very
it's like you're sentencing them for life.
Yeah, so if that con is not big enough, then yeah.
All right. How about the two of you?
I think for me, one of the pros that I can think of is like when someone really did something wrong and got cancelled, he or she kind of set an example to tell people like this behavior is not right, in a way that this behavior is not acceptable, it's not right. So but I think the cons is definitely when people get extreme about it and leave like very negative comments on somebody's post, like threatening to take their life, or like even ask them to like kill themselves or stuff like that. It can become a form of cyberbullying.
Yeah, and it can be very dangerous.
Toxic, yes.
Yeah, that's a good thought. How about you, Stephanie?
I think one of the pros as well is that I think it makes people open up more about what they dare to stand up for, which is a good thing for to a certain extent. Yeah, because
then people are more daring in standing up for what is good and what is not. So I think that is one good thing about it. But the bad thing, really, like Sui and Shin mentioned, there's more cons than pros in the cancel culture. It's a very toxic environment that we build, and that people are actually supporting in society, like Shin and Sui mentioned as well, asking people to kill themselves, that to say that you don't deserve a second chance. No matter what you do, there's no redemption for you. And even to the extent of people actually calling up their companies, writing emails to get them jobless, and to cut off that income for people. So what about their families? What if that person is actually supporting a sick family member, or a sick parent? Then what else is there to do? Because right now I'm being cancelled by the world, I'm being cancelled by my company, my friends, my relatives probably will also in a certain way cancel me off, don't want to have anything to do with me. So I think that itself is a very toxic thing, that we are actually pushing people to the edge.
Yeah, correct. And somehow you will cause, I think the good thing hearing from all three of you is to say that when we are a voice to the voiceless is good. We bring out issue to talk about, we fight for justice. We can also hold people accountable so that they're very responsible of what they have to say on a public platform on social media. I think those are very good. But the moment it turns to any form of bullying, there's more than just words. It costs people's livelihood when there's actually real consequences, especially when things that are unjust. We are not talking about someone who is powerful or corrupted. Of course, we need to call them out, especially things to do with injustice or someone that's they did something that's morally wrong and damaging to society. I think those are it has its place, but definitely not crossing the limit when we judge the person, when we sentence them, and there's no sense of like compassion or even respect. We totally cancel another like a extreme boycott. I think that is where it goes to the other extreme where we call it a con. All right. So now hearing all our thoughts from different point of view, which is very nice, pretty balanced. Now, what can we take away from this moving forward? It means, is there any good to this culture? When is it good? Maybe when is it acceptable? Stephanie, you want to start with this?
I don't think the cancel culture is acceptable. Maybe the call out culture is acceptable because you're actually just calling out, and saying that, hey, this might not be right.
But canceling that person off, putting that responsibility on yourself as just a member of society to have that authority to gather people to cancel that person off, that is not acceptable. It's okay to call out and correct, and convict, but it's not okay for you to sentence and make the final say, because we don't have the right to have the final say on someone else's lives.
Yeah, wow, powerful. Yeah. Come, I clap for you. Very good. Yeah, there's a difference between cancel culture and a call-out movement. Very good point to take. How about Sheen and Sui? Let's hear from you.
I think I echo Steph's thoughts that cancel culture is not permissible in a sense where we don't get to say that, okay, in this circumstance, you can apply cancel culture because maybe he did something more extreme than the usual things, because there is law for a reason, like we don't, like Steph said, we don't get to sentence them because who are we? We get to say our fair share, like, okay, yeah, we think that's wrong. Things should be done to be corrected. The person should know that he's at fault and he needs to maybe get himself fixed or something to mend the situation on himself. But we don't get to say that, okay, because of that, you're like gone cancelled, you should just leave the world right now. So I don't think we get to do that. If there's anything that we need to take out of this cancel culture, we can take, there's a very important thing that we need to do is to teach people how to see, to have a clear view of what's the difference between calling out and canceling, because a lot of them don't know. Because I'm closer to I'm in the Gen Z generation and I'm probably more involved than all of you here, and I have had friends who, because they're so influenced by what the media says, I get so afraid to talk to them sometimes because you just don't know when you're gonna get cancelled, and you can see how much they have been influenced by that and how much they are just getting into that to be politically correct and to be politically accepted. So they just take everything, but they don't stop and think and say that, where's the line? Where do we draw? How do I educate the person if he doesn't know about this? Let's say I don't know enough about maybe a community or an issue that has been trending. So your job, besides canceling me, I guess you can also tell me that okay, actually we don't do this, it's offensive to people and things like that. Because like it or not, some people are a bit more ignorant and they really just don't know. But as a member of society, we're all living together. So isn't it our job to also educate one another to help each other grow? Because if you want to cancel our society, then who's going to be left? You're basically saying we're the elite bunch and the rest don't matter.
Wow. Yeah, true. Yeah. That's very good points there. Very good point. Yes, Sheen.
Yeah, I agree to what both Stephanie and Sui say. I think it's very important that we educate and not just poor judgment and poor hatred towards that person because they might not know. So, and one example that I can think of is, I think it happened in this year. It's one of our local influencer when he did a music video for whitening product, but he ignorantly, he did not know that he is wrong to use a Chinese person, and he painted her to be a blackface.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but at the time he did not know that it's offensive to a group of people. So I think a lot of other influencers on the internet also call him out and tell him, okay, this is not right. So after that, he took the video down and he remade another video, and he said in the new music video, he said that he had learned his lesson, and no matter what's your skin color, you are still beautiful.
Yeah.
So I think there's power in like the things that you put into the internet. You can choose to throw judgment to another person. You can also choose to educate a whole group of people out there.
I think the three of you share a lot of wisdom. Okay, that's beyond your age. Okay, if I'm allowed even to say that. Okay, very good thoughts, to really hear from you. Now, even from here, hearing the three of you, I guess conversations are really important. Conversation that is based not on emotion. Sometimes we get so emotional about things, and we actually forget about certain facts. We get very emotional, we get very stirred up. I think conversation can be very healthy when it's not motivated by hate or some preconceived ideas, or even start labeling people out and immediately canceling them. But conversation can be healthy where we hear each other's point of view. That's based on values, that's based on facts, that's based on ideas or perspective from where the person comes from. Sometimes it's not just about black or white. There are areas where you can still stand on either black or white, but in different situations it may change, because we're not talking about absolute truth or things like that here. We're simply talking about a culture that's based on your worldview, on from what perspective you see a certain matter. And I believe that when it comes to all this canceling against boycotting against somebody, it's something that we need to be very careful on. Sometimes it's not so much of what we do, but how we do it. We can call a person out, but it's how we call the person out. Is there like a sense of like conversation, educating the person, helping the person see your point of view as you also hear their point of view as well. And to always have that sense of love, the sense of kindness, and sense of respect for one another. And we can always be friends even without agreeing on a similar topic. We can be people that are respectful of each other, even without having the same culture or perspective, so to speak. Okay, and I do want to point one thing out. I believe that this whole cancel culture is not good when people become very sensitive, and it causes a lot of fear that sometimes you have something to say, but you dare not say it because it's against the public opinion, or so-called against popularity. Then you get canceled out. And that silences your voice when you have a powerful voice. Okay, so I believe that when it has a good cause, when it's to like perhaps to fight for justice, fight for a good cause, a common good for society, I think that is when we need to speak out, and we need to create a culture that's very open to allow different people to speak up, even if we feel we cannot agree with them, and even if they are wrong. Okay, I think everyone has a voice, and we should allow everyone to just sit down and have a conversation. Okay, and I believe in a healthy dialogue, especially when we can turn the dialogue towards a common good. Okay, now before I end today's topic, which is so interesting, just a general question, just throw it out there. Is there anything that you want to say to our audience? Is there a final word of advice, a word of caution, or something that's burning in your heart that you just want to speak up?
For me, I think as we move forward and like younger generations are actually like coming up, babies who are like born in the pandemic and everything, I think generally as well, social media has pushed us to become more hypersensitive towards everything, like fat shaming, sometimes it's like you just ask a person, hey, you put on weight, but last time it used to be okay, but now it's like, oh wow, you are fat shaming me, you don't ask me about my weight, don't ask me about things. I think that is why people don't have face-to-face conversations as much, because you don't know what is the premise I can step on. What are the rules? What are the things that I can say, I cannot say? It becomes like, I might as well I don't talk to anyone lah, You wanna chat, just drop me a WhatsApp message and I'll reply whenever I want to, kind of thing. Yeah, because but even in messaging, right? We are now very scared because you don't know when they will actually screenshot, dig up everything and repost, and something as private will go public in just like a click.
So yeah, I'd say that we can learn to be more empathetic and I feel like cancel culture, right, also make people afraid to be themselves. Yes, society says no, be yourself. But how can I be myself if being myself is against what you like? Then you will cancel me off. Which also plays into friendships, relationships, work relationships. There is nobody that can actually agree to disagree anymore. It's either you agree with me or you disagree with me, and I will cancel you off. That's it.
Yeah.
No, which doesn't have that empathy and what human relationship is all about. You be considerate towards one another, you respect one another, you be kind to one another, you love one another. But now it's more like, if you're not like me, I cannot respect you, I cannot be kind to you, and I will not love you. So then where is the line that we draw, towards then? What if people are all the same? Then might as well we just be robots and just group ourselves into group A, B, C, D all the way to Z, and then you just fit in your group.
But there is no diversity, it stops that diversity, it stops dialogues, it stops conversation, because then everyone would want to be with like-minded people. Then what if I have an opinion that is not like your opinion? I'm afraid to speak, I cannot be myself, and I will feel like you cannot love me, and there is no ground for us to agree to disagree and still live in harmony and still accept one another, to be kind and respect. Because it's very easy to respect and be kind to someone who has the same thoughts as you, the same characters, the same interests. That's why even in relationships, we see there's so many relationships, boyfriend and girlfriend or like husband and wife, that's failing. Because as long as you don't agree with the way I bring up my child, I cannot be with you. As long as you don't agree with the way I eat, I cannot be with you. So after, it's like you get married at a young age and then you don't sort all this out, and then all of a sudden they are like bombarded by this cancel culture. So in the middle of a marriage, they'll be like, okay, maybe you're not right for me, so I'll cancel you off. Okay, let's like divorce. So that's why a lot of broken families are also like rising. The numbers are rising. So I think it really all plays a part, even though it might be like a small part. But if we carry on this toxic mindset and behavior, it will continue for generations and generations, and we are already seeing that effect coming into place.
So just be kind, love one another, respect one another, have that space, open up that space to have a dialogue with people. We don't have to agree with everything people say, and other people as well don't need to agree with us.
Definitely.
But that's where respect really comes in. That's where love really comes in. That's where kindness really comes in.
Those values always hold society together. Powerful words, very good. Sheen and Sui, do you have any final words?
I think if anything, good things that cancel culture has done is that recently we have seen a lot of like people fighting for justice in terms of like all the people that unfortunately died in the police custody, and like people have been speaking up about that, canceling this injustice that has been going on, for like the different individuals, and like calling them out, asking for an explanation, asking for things to be changed up, asking for new bills to be passed to be able to continue progressing with justice. So I think that is a very good example of like how we should use that to fight for justice, because those incidents are unacceptable. It's definitely without a doubt that these things needs to be cancelled, and I'm glad that people have been using the right channels, people have been voicing out to say the same thing. But I wouldn't say that we can apply this thing to someone who maybe has made a certain remark online that has not been as friendly as what it should have been. He was a bit ignorant, or maybe very ignorant. He said something, whether it was intentional or not intentional. Like again, to say is that it is not our right to sentence someone. There is a reason for laws, for people that to deal with these things, and we can call them out. But I think we should always remember that we hold that responsibility and the right to be able to educate them for the better, rather than to just like cut them out and that's it, they're gone, you know. And that doesn't, I mean, it really contradicts of what this whole community within online community where we talk about we want to be one, you know, we want to be united regardless of cultures, races and stuff like that. But when you do this thing, it's not, it does not speak of the value that you uphold. And I'm not saying that you take whatever he said lightly or like you downplay the seriousness of the issue. No, I'm saying that you are highlighting the issue, but you are highlighting in a way that you can make him become a better person, not that you are just making him disappear. And so that, because the issue is still going to be there. So if you don't solve the issue the right way, the issue is going to keep happening, you know. And with the platform that we have, with the tools that we have, you know, it's so much better to just educate, you know, than to, if not, otherwise we're basically like just sweeping it under the rug. Okay, you're gone, you're gone, you know. But when we can put it out and say that, okay, you know, guys, this is not really right. You know, what should we do about it? How can we approach? If we don't know anything better about someone else's culture, should we say anything? No, don't say anything at all. And that helps people to understand that, okay, yeah, I shouldn't simply say anything. I have to check my facts before I get to it. So there is a good and a bad side to it. And you put them together and you see that cancel culture can work if you really want it, if you really want to implement it in the right manner.
It's done properly.
Yeah, correct.
Good thoughts. Sheen, do you have any final words?
I think like echoing to both what Stephanie and Sui said, right? I think we are very lucky to live in a world that we have the freedom to say anything that we want on the internet. But in terms of how we solve problems on the internet, we have to be very clear that we are facing an issue. We have to address an issue and not address a person. I think it's very important that we don't take things too personally. And a lot of times when I see Facebook posts and there are some people commenting down there, right? I feel very sad when I see that person is like a parent or someone who is older and they leave hate comments under certain posts. I just feel so sad because they are the people who maybe there are some parents or aunties, uncles in someone's life, and if you are leaving comments like that on the internet, what if your children or your someone in your life see it? You know, you are not a good example for generations to come.
Correct.
So I think one thing we have to be very careful is how we use this, and really not to. We are free to speak whatever we want, but we are not free to just hate on anyone.
Well, I believe this is an interesting topic, and it is important enough for us to have healthy conversations such as this, just to hear everyone, because I believe that when we are able to express ourselves healthily without fear and with a lot of love, respect and kindness, there's no element of hatred or labeling or judging one another. There's so much that we can learn from one another. And at the end of the day, I do believe that we need to focus on what we are for, not just what we are against. If we see something that we disagree, something we don't like, it's not so much that we want to be against that, but what are we for?
Correct.
What is a positive message that we're trying to bring out? What are the positive principles? Not just about writing people off, but what is the story or the message that you're penning down? I think that is important as well. And I would say that the moment any conversation or any movement become toxic and they appear to be in any form of bullying, boycotting, and canceling people, then it's time to cancel the cancel culture. Right? I really appreciate all three of you, so much wisdom and so much that we can actually take home from this video. And I want to appreciate all you guys for following our Faith Uncensored to you today. Now, I strongly encourage all of you, if you've enjoyed today's episode and you want more episodes such as this, remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. All right? See you in the next episode of Faith Uncensored. Take care. Bye-bye.